Hello there, everybody. It is Duck Designs. We are back here for a course review. This is going to be my first course review that isn't one of my own. I think today I'm going to be doing this one right here by Arctic Fury, 85. I don't know any of these designers or any of these courses coming into these things fresh off. Going to be playing blue tees at 7560. Only got 3 tees on this course. Going down to 6,300, not super short for the red tees. We'll do pin 1, and let's get straight into it. Now, because I am not on Xbox, I'm not going to be doing a lot of fly arounds because flying around on mouse and keyboard is a lot harder than it is on Xbox or PlayStation. So I'm just going to do a very basic look around, and sorry if it looks a little janky as I am moving around, because it is a little janky. Oh, look at this. We have got a world here. I love this. When the designer actually goes through the effort to design the entire world, which I know takes a lot of time, like way too much time. Yeah, there's a lot out here, a lot of houses, a lot of big mountain cliffs. That definitely took a lot of time in terms of planting. Wonder what type of plants those are over here that we got. Some really tall grass. That's funny. Little waterfall in the distance, not bad. I really like the individual islands that you've done. The houses are nice. I know a lot of people have pet peeves that there's nothing that these houses connect to. There's no roads, but for exterior decorations like this, you really don't need it unless you've got the extra objects. And judging by how much this guy's placed in this course, he probably maxed out his object and memory count. A very nice little town up here. It would be nice to have them connected to something, but I understand why. This is very nice. Got a little church thing almost over here. Oh yeah, that is a church. It's even got the little church thingy. Little cross. Very nice. Got some holes running along the edge out here. I really do like the look of this course in terms of the world building. Uh, give you an A on that. Now let's see exactly how the golf is. Let's see how well the golf plays. Alright, first hole, very long par 4. This is almost a short par 5 on most courses. It is downhill, which does help. Got a little spine running down the middle of the fairway here. I like that. Bunkers are nice. I do like your bunkering. I've never been a fan of the bunkers that are really far away from the fairways like this and kind of almost don't really fit the fairway, but it is your style, so it does seem to go very nice together when all the bunkers are fitting with it. Keep in mind all of these design opinions are just opinions. I'm sure a lot of people are going to like things that I don't like, and vice versa. I do think those are yardage markers on the edge of the hole. Yeah, that's probably the 150 marker? No, I can't put the 150 marker right next to me. That's the 110. Yeah, that must be the 150. It's more in front of me. I do like the markers. I know markers take a little bit of time. They can also be very annoying and get in the way, but I do like how you put them off the sides. I do still think they will probably end up getting repetitive, especially if you're doing a 250, 200, 150, 100. Looks like you're just doing the 200 and in, though. Sloping on the bunkers, very nice. Or on the green. This little catch is a little weird, but I think it's meant to help balls eat around this corner right here. Good little shot. Now, I don't pay too much attention to green speed or fairway speeds. If they play nice, that's the biggest importance. You can have the slowest greens or you can have the fastest greens. It all depends on how they actually putt and play on the course. I think this one was somewhere around medium. Medium fast, maybe. Probably more medium. Very nice planting up here. Like the use of the yellow. Doesn't really impede the view at all. Maybe a little bit more from this front tee. So, you know, that was one of the things that I was wondering is when I was looking at the tee boxes. You see how close these tee boxes are considering this is the red. It would have done you a really good to put one more tee box somewhere closer to the hole. I understand it's not something that a lot of designers like to do because it takes more time, but just having a more realistic red tee box is something that I really like. I like it when people actually have the fully fleshed out tee boxes that when you're playing from the reds, it feels like you're playing from a woman's tees because you're driving every green. You really shouldn't be playing there, but I understand why a lot of people don't do that is because when people do play your courses, they will play the red tees even if they are a regular woman's length and they will destroy your courses. But still, I do think having those extra tees is very nice. The planting here in the world is beautiful. Now, looking at the houses in the background, I don't know, do you guys think that there's too many types of houses back there? I do like it, but I feel a little bit overwhelmed with just how much there is back there. It is beautiful, though. I will say that. Kind of an odd industrial building over here. It seems like he went into the houses and just kind of picked one of every house. I really like this style right here where he's got these houses lined up. I think if he would have kept going with this half of the village and kind of copy pasted that over here, it would have looked extremely nice. But I think just a couple of these buildings are a little bit of an odd choice. But overall, still, it's an extremely beautiful course. That's not something most players are really going to notice. They're just going to see nice houses on a hill. I do like this hole, too. Does seem like you can run off a little bit here. We will see if we can actually hit one down that gap. Probably not. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit off. Seems like you do have to smash a drive to really get it down that slope all the way. I like that you added a little catch area here. This is, if it were me personally, I would have cut the cart path off here and here because a lot of balls are going to be rolling through here. Because I think it kind of impeded with your fairway. You see how it flattens out and then drops back down really hard? I think having this as one nice consistent slope would have done you a really good. Maybe finding a way to reroute this. I don't know if that's possible. But anytime you can avoid cart path going through your fairway is usually the good play. But I will say though, out of all the things I'm saying here, the course is stunning. This is a 5-star course. The things I'm saying are more nitpicks than anything else. Like another little nitpick is this right here. I don't know why you wouldn't just connect this up right here just in case someone ends up here and has to putt here or vice versa, because this can just create an awkward situation for the golfers to have to chip over. It's just some tiny things. It's nothing really big. Like the course is absolutely beautiful.
All right, let's give this one a tap in and move to the next. Let's see what happens here. We get a long par 4 for this one.
Really like these little waste areas. I think this one could have been indented a little more. Maybe put some hazard stakes around it would have looked really nice. Yeah, I think I don't know. Hazard stakes or not, it's still very nice. But I do think hazard stakes could add a little bit more flair to those. just to really show the players what they're getting into.
Nicely struck.
Yardage stakes aren't as repetitive as I was thinking they were going to be. Wild little green here. A little odd to have the raised tier in the neck of the green, but I do like it. Did some nice work giving you enough room to work with. It is a very tough pin to consider to compared to the other two parts of the green. This is an easy pin, and so is this back here. And this is leagues harder. So we can get a nice shot on up there.
Decent approach there.
Not too shabby.
12-footer.
Sorry, just had to grab a drink. And I guess I might as well mention it. This is my first time recording from my new living location. Currently working at a golf course construction company. Just started this week. Very excited for the future. Unfortunately, I did get sick in the first week. Probably can't tell too much from the voice. I like this again, but I do think this is getting a little too repetitive. This grass, I liked it a lot at first, but now that I'm really starting to get a better look at it, you can see that it's just all the same thing all the way around. This whole edge hasn't been rotated, changed, nothing. You can see same grass, same grass, same grass, same grass all the way around, which isn't something that most players are going to notice, but in this game has a weird problem where if you're zoomed out, it's a lot easier to notice these things. This is the view that most players are going to see it from, is a zoomed out view. So it does look a little bit too uniform. Now, if I had anything to say about these bunkers on this course at all, I feel like some of these are a little too far away from the fairway and out of play. And some of the shaping on some of them is a little weird, like this one. I understand bunkers are very hard to work with. This one just looks a little weird. I think if you just smooth this out a little bit better. But I still do really like the bunkering out here. Very visually pleasing. You can tell that the backs have been raised up a couple feet, which is that's just the way you kind of need to do bunkers in this game, unless you have a hole dropping down. Even on his shallower bunkers, you can see this is probably the shallowest one on this hole. This is 9 all the way up to a 14. That's a 5-foot drop on one of his less steep bunkers on the course. But I think having these raised backs to your bunkers is something that is very needed in this game. Yeah, oh, look at that. I always like it when designers add these little spots onto their course. These bunkers that feed into the water. It's a kind of an older design trick, but I really do enjoy it. You don't see it too often. Most courses will only have one of these, maybe two. But having these little bunkers bleeding into water, it's always just a little nice thing to have on the course. And that one, I like it too, because it's very out of the way. It's something you're only going to be in if you really blow it past this green. Yet again, with the kind of copy-pasted grass, you can see that this is just the same grass, not rotated or anything, straight through. Straight in there. Oh yeah, here we go. We got another one of these bunkers. I really do like this right here. Yeah, that's very nice. I don't really think this is necessary. This whole grass lip is, yeah, it's just not necessary, really. I understand you're trying to cover the bunker line, but you haven't done this anywhere else in the course other than that last hole. And it just kind of looks a little weird, especially considering it's not done perfect over here. Yet again, another wild green. Very, very wild green. your necks on the greens, it seems like you really like these fingers coming into the green, but you do have to be very careful with these. I understand it is just a video game, but having fingers come in this far on multiple greens is just it's going to be a nightmare for anybody to actually take care of greens like this because of chip shots that people are going to have to play from off of the green because of it. I like that you put the little strip all the way around. That's looks like you went with no fringe and just decided to use the fairway as your fringe. Very nice. Seems like it could have been done a little better. It didn't really look like you selected a secondary surface on the green. It's like you kind of came in here with the fairway and splined it around yourself, which does take a lot more time to do right. Understand why you have a couple areas that aren't exactly the same width, because it is extremely hard to keep the width the same all the way through. Yeah, this green is just a little bit off. I think some reworking with this green would definitely help. You've also got this humongous catching mound right here, which we haven't really seen too many aggressive slopes like this. This is a huge drop. That's a what is that? A 10, 11 foot drop from the top of this to the back of that. That's huge. Very nice. I love the water edge. I just think redoing, having a different green complex up here would be very, very nice. I just don't think this green complex really fits with the rest of the course. But we are only on the 5th hole so far, so I'm not gonna say too much.
And yet another green regulation for you.
I do really like that he went through the effort of putting cart path out here. A lot of designers just don't do cart path because it can be very difficult to get right. Uh, it does seem like it may not be perfect on all the holes. It seems like this could have been brought a little closer to the green. Let me actually kind of look at the cart path a little more around the course. Yeah, it seems like some of these cart paths are a little far away from the greens, which isn't the end of the world. But just in terms of having people walk, like even back here, I know I'm a little bit zoomed out right now. I can't really control this camera very well. But you see how this is just a far walk. Some of these greens are further walks. Like I'm assuming this is meant to be your turnaround right there. That's a pretty big walk up a hill right there. Not bad on most of them. It's just some of them could be brought a little bit closer. Like that's probably a 50-yard walk. There's a lot of walking in between cart path, green, and tee boxes. It's not too bad with the fairways because for the most part with fairways you can just drive your cart right on it anyway. Just having a cart path that kind of comes close. Like this right here is a good entry exit point for your players. This right here is a good entry exit point for your players. Uh, like one thing you have to keep in mind, if your players are going to drive on to the fairway here, where are they going to go once they get down here? Are they meant to come back through right here, or are they meant to drive down through right here? It's just little cart path things like that. Cart path layout. Nothing huge though. It would just take moving a couple cart path lines. But with how this course is right here, I feel like your cart paths are a lot wider and a lot thicker than most cart paths. So I do think having it further away, I understand why you did that. But even if you just added like a little bit of light rough that connected here and here, maybe here and here, it would just add that little bit more realism of like, hey, this is where the guys in the cart path are getting on, this is where they're coming off, this is where the players are meant to walk up to their tee boxes, this is where the players are meant to walk up to their greens. Just little stuff like that. Even if you just added a little walkway, like down here to the back of the screen or over here to the back of this one, it's just a tiny little bit of realism. All right. I do like this one. This was like a hero type hole. It's a little bit very downhill actually. As long as I don't hit that completely terrible, it's going to be over. Seems like you do need a little bit more juice to get to the fairway.
Okay, let's get on out of this second cut and get on our way.
Another one of these wild-looking greens. This one is done better to an extent. The biggest thing you got to keep in mind when you do fingers like this, if you're going to have them on your course, your slopes need to be where they can grab the ball and throw it around the corner. Say if there's a pin here, you need to have a slope that's feeding stuff to the left. So players over here can actually putt around this corner. Whereas this one, if you're over here and a pin's right here, there's nothing you can do. You're going to have to chip it up here onto this slope and get it to ride down. It's just little things like that. It's not nearly as bad from here. Maybe if you're right here, you're kind of screwed to this back pin. But if you're going to do big fingers, that's just one of the little things you need to keep in mind is when your players are putting, you don't want your putting players to end up having to chip because of a finger like this. I think really so far on this course that we'll see how it keeps going, but so far that's my biggest complaint is some of these greens. It's way too hard.
Luck here, 18 feet to the cup.
Oh, I would have hit that right.
Tapping in for bogey on this one. Par 5 for this hole.
Ooh, I do really like that. Big bunker cluster. I don't know, there's just something that doesn't, like I like these bunkers, but I don't love these bunkers. No, there's just something that's just a little bit off about them. Which bunkers are one of the hardest things to get right in terms of building. Fairways and greens are pretty easy, but getting a bunker right is a lot harder. It's just something about these sharp, jagged edges mixed with the kind of inconsistent flow of the bunkers. You kind of see how this just doesn't, the edges just don't flow right. They just kind of look a little off and janky on all these bunkers. Like this right here, want to have this little tiny cut in right here, maybe just remove that. Same thing here, just kind of smooth. I feel like a lot of these bunkers would do better with smoother edges compared to these sharper, jankier edges that they do have. I really like this tree work right here, beautiful. Right on the edge. And it blocks it off from the players really seeing that visual drop off. Kind of encloses you into the hole a little more. So I don't think many players are really going to end up in that water. This is a huge fairway here. I do like how you're feeding everything down towards it though. Very short par 5 here. Green's nice. I think the only really thing here is a consideration of where your water's going. Water flow on your greens is going to pile up here. I know it's a realistic nitpick, but water will build up here over time and make your green moldy, kill grass. It's just going to cause a lot of issues. This is going to be a huge wet area on this green. Also visually, I don't think it's exactly the best. I like this top and bottom tier. I think there's some nice pins here, maybe one here. There seems to be two harder, a hard and an easy one in the back over here. I just think maybe a little bit smoother here. Maybe dropping this edge off down into this whole feedback area back here. Kind of how you got right here, except bring that to here as well. I think that would be very nice. Something a little off about this bowl. Something a little off about that swing too. Ooh. Yeah, I think the main thing is the bowl's just a little too aggressive. See how these slopes kind of play a little weird right here? How it's kind of coming all to this little gather point. You usually want to keep your gather points off of the greens. Just as I said with water, if you have a gather point on the green, water's going to gather there as well. Oh, beautiful hole here. Absolutely gorgeous. I really, really like this. Visually, without looking at any of the hole itself, stunning. I really like how you got these little fish cabins back here. Actually, going to probably use this. That's the screenshot if I can actually work this camera around a little bit. use that as our course screenshot right there. Very stunning little area up here. Really do like all this. That's very nice. Wonder what you used there. I've seen those like that before. Looks like you used some kind of wall. And then obviously this is like a wood bridge up here of sorts. And a little fence railing. Very beautiful bridge, custom made bridge there. Really, really, really like this hole. Alright, now let's actually look at the green itself. Ooh, I really like this. This little bowl right here. It's not really a bowl, it's more of a strip. It cuts across the green. What this does for players is it allows players on... It works great on these long holes, especially like this, because if you're hitting a longer club and you land in this slope right here, it's going to kick you forward into the slope and you're going to roll up to here. If you land into this slope, it's going to hit your ball and stop. So your aiming point on this hole is this area right here. If you land anywhere right in here, you're pretty much set. It's going to feed you a little bit to the hole as long as you're playing it right. And it's a very nice little catch area. This is one of the things that I did on my Stonehenge course in front of the greens. I forgot exactly what they call this, but this is a design like type right here. This is one of the many design things you can do. I'm not very good with the names, I'm sorry, but I do really like it. Very beautiful drop off too. Huh. Can't even get a good swing to test it out.
Not sure where this will go. Here's our second shot on the 8th.
Beautiful hole though. So far this is probably my favorite hole on the course.
And wouldn't it be nice to save par on this one?
In terms of looks, in terms of play. I think this is a very challenging par 3, but can also be very birdieable with a good shot.
That hole put you up to 1 under. Par 4 for this one.
Great hole here. The fairways are split, and if you're going to do a split fairway, you need to have a green that can take advantage of it, and this green can definitely take advantage of it. You can play out to over here near the water, a little riskier shot, and get yourself a better angle into the green, or you can play up here to this little top tier and have yourself kind of hitting down onto the green over these bunkers. I think this is definitely the better play on this hole, as long as you don't go in the water.
Put a nice swing onto that one.
Tiny nitpick, but I think the
75
little
yards.
bowl here, I don't really like how that kind of bowls like that, or not bowls, but it's kind of like a circle. It's like a knob on the end of this thing. I think you could have done a little bit more, but I don't know. That's just a tiny nitpick, very tiny. I like this, but at the same time, I'm not really sure about having it so close right here. I really like the houses back here, but that's going to be very confusing. Actually, let me hit a shot back there. Ooh, that's not a shot back there. We'll hit this one back there. I want to see what happens if because this is a big like bounce pad basically for your players if you're not careful. Let's see what happens. Looks like you're just going to end up sitting on the path over here. Kind of an odd choice if you're going to have a drop off right here. Why lead it straight to a cart path? Very hard chip from back here too. And I feel like that is a very that's an area where players are going to end up with that big slope in the back of the green like that. Another split fairway hole, par 5. Beautiful split fairway again. He's using these trees to give you an opportunity to easy second shot in, but you just have to contend with the trees. For a longer uphill one with less trees, I actually think this might be the play. This might get you 10, 15 yards closer maybe, but even with this slope, it's going to bring you way down there.
There we go. Nice swing.
That was a good swing. See how far that gets me. Yeah, this opens everything up a lot more over here.
Shot is clogging
Only
up.
190 to the back pin. Again, with this finger. I really like this up here. I do like this bulb. It's a punch bowl up here, like a half or a 3/4 punch bowl. I will say out of all the fingers that there is so far, I like this one the most. It is still going to do the same. You have to chip up over it if you end up over here, but I do like this top area a lot. This is a very, very nice par 5 here. Very easy par 5 here, too.
This one's heading left. I'll tell you what, that was some great golf I just saw on this hole. Next putt for Eagle.
Let me actually look at the scorecard real quick. Dang, it doesn't tell us the distances on the score. Oh, there we go. There we go. Alright. Let's see. I wanted to look at the par 5s. This one, possibly reachable. This one, definitely reachable. This one, definitely reachable. This one, most likely reachable. We'll see when we get there. I'll talk about this in one of my future videos, but with par 5s, you want to have one that is unreachable, two or one that are possibly reachable, and then the last ones want to be your reachable ones. So like you want to have one or two that are reachable under the right conditions, one that's never reachable, and then the rest of them you want to have them always reachable, pretty much.
Down to even par. And here we go, par 4 in front of us.
I like this little par 4 here. I'm curious. I'm gonna... Ooh, wow, that's a hell of a shot to get into that over there. Not even sure if a player... You'd have to have a hell of a swing to get all the way up there. I want to hit it into that, though, just to see
Long grass here.
what that's going to do to our ball.
This might find some.
This better be OB. It's not. Oh my god. This is a big problem I see with course designers, is they'll put areas like this that are full of brush, waste areas pretty much, full of brush, big deep holes. They won't have it marked as out of bounds. I mean, you can take an unplayable out of this, but you usually want to have stuff like this that the players are just not meant to hit out of bounds.
Okay, back in the fairway. Good job. And this is your 4th shot.
Whew, that was a swing.
5th shot.
Oh, that was a better one right there.
Good job out of the sand. Well done. Nicely done.
Alright, coming down to hole number 9.
Now
Hole
on
number
the
12, I mean, hole number 9. Alright, now we're finally starting to see some of the cliffs in the background here, instead of the houses that we've been seeing. I hope there's more holes where you can see all this, because this is a beautiful area with all this rock work. Does seem like you used 2 or 3 different types of rocks here, which is usually kind of what you want to go for, 2 or 3, especially if you can make them look different. I can tell this little darker one up by the path, this little lighter one up by the path, and I think one of these is the big long mossy boy. Yeah, mossy boy. I do like the cart path. Again, your cart paths are beautiful, especially your bridges, custom bridges. Very, very nice. I like to see what you've actually used for all those bridges. I'm actually curious what that bottom brace is for the bridge. Easy little hole in terms of getting it on the green. It's just a matter of getting it onto the right part of the green.
Great swing.
Bunkers, very odd placement for those 2 bunkers. That front one didn't really seem like it was a visual
27
too much at all. Yeah, I guess it is a visual for this front left. Huge sloping on this fairway. I don't know how much I like how big those slopes are. Kind of odd since we haven't seen too many big fairway slopes at all. But just have those huge ones right there.
Okay, we tap that in and moving to the next. All right, let's see what we can do here on the 13th.
Yes, we got some more holes working along the cliff edge over here. So like par 5, this is probably where you're going to be able to get to the green. This is just our layup area. Might as well go for the green.
Oh, this one's
A little fast. Oh, rock right into the water. Yeah, that's one of the scary things about using a lot of rocks in your course. As a player, you have to, when you see rocks, you have to imagine this is just dead if you land anywhere on the rocks. Same thing with cart path. Cart path, if it's in the right spot, can be just death. Like we saw on that one hole back there where it was right behind the green up against some houses. If you landed on that cart path, you're behind the houses probably.
Okay, green is elevated.
I like the houses a lot on this one. Very simple. I don't really think you needed this right here. I think this is just punishing anyone who's laying up into this bunker. Laying up into the bunker. Laying up and missing into the bunker. That's just a extra little challenge on top for anyone who screws up there. Beautiful planting up here. Haven't seen too many of the yellow plants yet. These are always some nice ones to have. Some more of these big fairway slopes. We haven't seen too many of these, but now that they're kind of coming in a little more, works. Like this big catch area here. The greens are staying very slopey as they have been, which I don't like exactly how slopey they are. I think I could do with just a little bit of smoothing. I think you've got a little bit too many slopes going on these greens.
Really well judged approach there.
Like you got ways going this way, ways going that way, ways going this way, ways going that way, this way, that way. Maybe just a few too many slopes. I don't know, this green actually looks pretty nice. Getting a good second look at it.
This putt's good so far.
But we definitely have seen some little too aggressive slopes and some greens with way too many slopes on them overall. Drivable par 4 with an inaccessible back area. I really do like this bunker right here, short of the green. This big mounded, indented bunker. This one I like, but I don't love. Let's see, you did the old fencing, the 2K21 fencing around this hole. Something about the 2K21 fencing is just, it looks nice. It takes a lot longer to do this type of fencing work. You can tell it's a little bit off though, because you got these raised ones and these lower ones, but I think that's kind of what he was decided to go for there. Yeah, let's just smack this one up onto the green. Good shot. A little left. That might actually feed down into this. Be very curious to see if it does. You could definitely end up in there if not careful.
On hole number 14.
A little bit odd how big the slope is right here. But I guess it's meant to either feed you onto the green or off the green.
This would take you down to
I do like this green overall, though.
side of the hole, isn't it?
Again, we're seeing this kind of pebbled bunkering. Just could have done a little bit more work. I think if it would have looked closer to your other bunker that was like this, it would be beautiful. That other bunker was absolutely stunning. This one still is good, but it almost looks like it's got a disease. The other one had all these rocks kind of splotched down here at the bottom and left this top area sandy. But again, we got another very heavily sloped hole here. Seems like our back nine has taken a little bit more of a different approach with the slope sizes.
This shot's having a bit of fade to it. Coming in for a landing on the short
That's
side.
pretty good. Oh, that's really good. Now, these two bunkers back here, I don't think you needed those. I honestly don't even think you needed a bunker on this hole, to be for real. Because none of these are really in play. This is in play down here. You missed the green. But I don't think there's probably a handful of players who've ended up in these bunkers. Especially those two in the back. Those two in the back aren't even really serving as a visual cue.
Getting ready to tee off here on the 16th hole.
Beautiful little hole here. I do think, let's see, just a little bigger over here. I think having a little bit more fairway over here would be better, just to have more of an incentive to lay up. Because right now, driver's going over all this anyway, unless the wind's right in your face, or you hit a terrible shot. I think this is one thing, one of the biggest telltale signs of a 2K21 course is the fact that from the back tees, a lot of the bunkers, you can just hit over them now because people haven't bothered to move back their tee boxes for the new game. That's one of the first things I did when this game got ported over, because I knew everybody was hitting it 10 to 20 yards further. That's one of the things you have to do if you're porting a course over. You have to move your tee boxes back, especially if they're on strategic holes where strategic bunkers are coming into play. Because this hole just kind of just got broke already because I was able to fly over those bunkers. This hole isn't really much. Which that's one of the things you have to think about when you're designing a course anyway in real life, is you have to know that there are going to be a wide variety of players that are going to be playing. You're going to have people that are hitting at 320. You're going to have people that are hitting at 220. You have to have bunkers and hazards that kind of play with all of those. Very long par 4 here. I doubt a layup would even get there, especially considering it's all uphill. Very difficult hole here. Fairway, I do like that you made the fairway really wide to compensate for the toughness of this hole. I think if the wind was in your face, though, if the wind was in your face full, I'm not even sure if you could get here into, especially with this back pin. Another one of these big fairway catches. Let's actually see if we can hit it into that catch back there. Not gonna hit it back there like that. Oh, oh, thank God. My boy actually did it. He went through the work of adding in drop zones. Can we get a hallelujah, folks? This is something that you see so little on courses. Even though this drop zone is not the best, you can see that it's a little bit sloped weird. It's a drop zone, and that's the biggest thing. Just having somewhere where your players can put the ball if they screw up is huge. Especially on areas like this. You can see that this green is tight up against this water, fairly tight. Players who land on this cliff are going to end up down here. Where are they going to get forced to drop? Across this lake or back where they hit? If they're going to get forced to drop over here, you need to add something for them to drop onto. Fantastic job. Fantastic. Very happy to see that. Could have been done a little bit better with flattening it out. It looks like he just kind of put a fairway strip over here and just left it, but still great, great, great stuff.
Good job. We're on the green. And for bogey. Currently 3 over par for the
All right, coming down to the final hole.
Teeing it up now for the final hole.
Alright, let's see if we can figure out what the hell's going on here without using our space bar. It seems like this would be a lot more of a course knowledge type of hole off the bat. Let's see what we got down here. Oh yeah. You would have to know this hole or have a score book with a course to really be able to tell what to do here. Because going over these bunkers is definitely the play, but anyone coming up here is probably going to look right at this and think this is the optimal go zone, which it is, but that makes you almost completely neglect all of this over here, which is heavily sloped down too. Let's see where our ball ends up. If we just hit it into that slope, it should stop right before the end of the fairway, I would imagine. Because it looks like he's got these big bowls down here.
Yeah, that'll play. This one's around 135 yards out.
I really do like how these two bunkers are defending this area. My only gripe is I think you could have used or done with bringing these bunkers up to the green edge. Because it would have been really nice to have this slope feed you into the bunker. I understand you're feeding it into this area, which works as well. But I really do love greens that can actually take a ball off the green into a bunker if you miss into zones like this. And this seems like our biggest feeding zone on the course so far in terms of catching everybody and throwing it off. This almost splits the green in two right here. Again, this is what I was kind of talking about with the too much slopes. I think this side of the green is doing great. You got some small slopes up here running all the way front to back. I just think this little knoll here isn't needed, at least to the extent it is. I don't think this needs to be a yellow. If you're going to have a knoll here, it probably needs to be slighter than this, because it makes a lot of this side of the green unpinnable. See, you could probably throw a pin back there, but definitely going to get some complaints about that.
Oh, come on, sit for us, ball.
Again, we got some of the cart path right behind the hole.
5 feet from the cup.
I think that's a little further out of the way. Again, you got the fairway feeding back to it, which I don't really like a lot.
All right, for the putt. And the putt drops.
All right, overall, for this course, I would give it a 5 out of 5. It's a beautiful course. While I'm doing this, of course, with a course this nice, you have to nitpick because there are no obvious big problems on it. There's nothing huge and wrong out here. A lot of it is just smaller stuff that maybe needs a little bit of tweaking. But overall, and I mean, as I've said before, if you're going to be a perfectionist, finishing these things take forever. It may never get done. I think this guy did a stunning job with his course. Great course here. Probably took him a long time to finish this thing. I'm thinking probably 100 hours or so to finish this whole course for him, maybe even more. If this was a team, great job. If this was a single guy, amazing job. I think that's really all I have to say. If you guys have any of your own courses that you want me to do some reviews over, leave them down in the comments. Or if you have any courses that you like, you don't even have to have made them. Some courses you've played on that you really like that think would go really good here, let me know, because for now I'm just going to be going to the 5-star page and reviewing stuff. So thank you guys for watching.